everything old is new again. There are a few different distinctions to be made when we're talking about adventure games in 2014. Is it a point-and-click adventure like Book of Unwritten Tales or Yesterday? A would-be piece of cinema like Walking Dead or Indigo Prophecy? Or is it something else altogether? Broken Age is remarkably modern for something that purports to be a point-and-click. It pays as much homage to the old as it enjoys the innovations of the new. It's the exact thing that backers were clamoring for, and something that can be enjoyed without a nostalgia for vintage adventure games. There are two different stories happening at once in Broken Age, and players are free to switch between them at will, which makes an already well-paced game even better. One narrative takes place in the baker's town of Sugar Bunting, and stars Vella,
Guess it's time to face the cupcakes,
who's been chosen as one of many fair maidens to be sacrificed to the sin-like Mog Chothra. The other follows the life of a boy named Shay, whose overprotective robot parents have kept him in isolation, repeating activities meant for a kid half his age. There's a good juxtaposition between the two. Vella's story is full of open spaces to explore, and Shay's claustrophobic spaceship gives you a chance to learn its many ins and outs. Both tales are charming and pretty engaging right from the get-go, but what makes me love the story is that it's funny and funny for all ages.
I found the object. It appears to be something organic in nature. Something's telling me I should stick my face right into it.
Broken Age hangs quite a bit on its production, and not just its looks. It's way more gamey than something like Walking Dead, but it never really gives you the chance to realize it, because as a player you're constantly parsing out a mountain of information. It's packed full of sight gags, innuendos, audio cues, and you'll be trying to solve puzzles, not to mention that yes, the game's core acting, art direction, and composition is fantastic. But really I'd say that a lot of the game's success comes from its editing, which affords every interaction the player has with a really cinematic feeling. You're scarcely just looking at a picture and clicking on things. The camera pans over environments and cuts in and out of conversations seamlessly. The best editing is invisible, and Broken Age feels incredibly smoothed out. And the same thing goes for its actual progression. I'm gonna be honest here, I was terrified that I'd become too spoiled by the internet and quest markers to get through an honest-to-God point-and-click without cheating a little bit or looking something up on the side, but the game always lets you know what it wants you to do without plainly giving you an answer. And of course, if you're stumped, you're welcome to switch between characters until that eureka moment hits you. I'll be quick about it, but I think a little context is necessary to wrap up. Full disclosure, I backed the Double Fine adventure when it hit Kickstarter almost a year ago. The project would receive a record $3.3 million to make an old-school adventure game and produce a documentary about its production. That game would be Broken Age. The studio pegs its funding at around the same amount they had to make the likes of Costume Quest and Stacking, which are pretty good little games. But just that, good little games. Whether they wanted the responsibility or not, all eyes have been on Double Fine to prove this crowdfunding model is worthwhile, which presumably has led the project to balloon into something considerably bigger than they originally intended. As of right now, only the first half of Broken Age is available. The second half is coming later this year. I don't normally like to review episodes of games, but at roughly 4 hours long, part 1 of Broken Age was worth every penny. It's an exceedingly likable game that wears its heart on its sleeve. It's a Double Fine title and a great one at that. The same faith that led me to back the project in the first place leaves me confident that part 2 can deliver in the same way as its fantastic debut. I strongly recommend it.